All right, he's given me the sign that it's 6 o'clock. So in accordance with South Carolina Code of Laws 1985, Section 30-4-80-E, the following have been notified of the time, place, and the agenda of this meeting: the Herald, the Charlotte Observer, CN2, and WRHI. If I could, please ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You have all received a copy of the agenda. Were there any adjustments or corrections?
No, ma'am.
All right, that will stand with unanimous consent. And we're going to start off with some very exciting special recognition, starting with our National Board Certified Teachers. Ms. Calloway, come on up.
Good evening. We have the privilege tonight of recognizing a group of distinguished educators who have achieved one of the highest honors in our profession, National Board Certification. This voluntary and rigorous certification process, established by the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards, is designed to elevate teaching practice and ensure that educators meet the highest national standards of excellence. Achieving National Board Certification is no small feat. It requires deep reflection, demonstration of advanced teaching skills, and a steadfast commitment to student success. This year's newly certified teachers were supported through a 2-year cohort designed and implemented by Deborah Miller, Coordinator of Educator Effectiveness, utilizing rural recruitment funding. This cohort provided critical support throughout the National Board Certification journey through monthly meetings, mentorship from veteran National Board teachers, and guidance from Sarah. Beyond this incredible achievement, National Board Certification plays a crucial role in retention and student success. Research shows that National Board Certified teachers are more likely to remain in the profession, providing stability and leadership in our schools. More importantly, their advanced instructional practices directly enhance student learning, fostering academic growth and achievement. So tonight, we celebrate not only their personal success, but also the lasting impact they will have on their students, schools, and communities. So now, Deborah Miller will bring our group inside, and I will call out their name for recognition. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. Now we're over here. Perfect. I'm excited to announce each individual teacher who is here tonight and those who are not able to attend due to scheduling conflicts. Tonight we have Sarah Aycock, if you want to come on up.
Come on around.
Holly Bradshaw. Lindsay Dillon. Kayla Haney. Stephanie McClung. Melissa Monette. Mackenzie Newsom. And Carly Rogers. Okay. Deborah is so very proud of the work that you've done, as we all are. We are so thankful for you tonight, and we have certificates and bags that we will have you take home. Thank you so much for being recognized, and we can't wait for the work that you're going to do in your classrooms.
Right there. If you guys would group together a little bit for me.
Photo.
Everybody right here. Thank you very much.
So in addition to some teacher recognition, we've got some student recognition. Mr. Young?
That's right. I am honored tonight to introduce our next guest, which is the Fort Mill High School wrestling team. If y'all would come up here, please. While they are walking in, it seems like this is a yearly thing now, as this is their third straight state championship. And at this time, I'm going to call up to the mic Coach Adam Marullo, who has been coaching at Fort Mill High School for 20 years. And this is his second year as the head coach and his second state championship. So, Coach Marullo.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you to Dr. Epps and to the Fort Mill School District for all of your support. Thank you to Mr. Beam and Coach Hartso as well for all of their support. Big thank you to my wife for all of her support. I'm gone a lot of nights and a lot of weekends investing coaching into these young men. Want a big thank you to all of our parents and all of the community support that we have. We couldn't do it without all the great support that we have from our community, and we have the best group of parents as well. Big thank you to all of our assistant coaches. Two of our assistant coaches in the house are Coach A.J. Lighton and Mac Wells. These guys and all of our assistants invest a lot of time and energy preparing these guys to get them in the best opportunity to be successful. So big thank you to all of them. And last but certainly not least, a thank you to all these young men, all these wrestlers that, without their hard work and dedication, we wouldn't have the success that we do. So thank you to all of you guys. A couple highlights from our season. This was the first undefeated season in the program's history. We went 19-0. We were the Rumble at the River champions down in a tournament down in North Augusta. We were region champions. We were the upper state champions, defeating a very, very good team, Eastside High School, who were the 9-time defending 4A state champions until we beat them. And last but certainly not least, we are the back-to-back-to-back 5A South Carolina state champions. So thank you.
All right, guys, there's a lot of y'all, so let's go ahead and stack like you would if you're on the podium,
Let's
okay?
go.
Come on, squeeze in, squeeze in.
Perfect.
Quick reverse.
They ought to be strong enough to hold each other up.
Yeah, I'm sure they could.
All right, make sure you can see me. If you can see me, I can see you. Looking right here. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
So I got to ask, they couldn't talk you into bleaching your hair too?
Yeah, right? What's with that, Coach?
All right.
It's just hair. It'll grow back. I know, right?
All right, and keeping the student recognition going, Mr. Scruggs.
All right, on to another perennial powerhouse organization, this one in business and marketing education. We're going to recognize our South Carolina State Championship DECA team and state office holders. And at this time, I would ask Ms. Molnar to come and talk a little bit about her program and her kids.
Good evening. The Fort Mill High School DECA team demonstrated professionalism and excellence at the South Carolina State Leadership Conference in February. You might be asking, what is DECA? DECA prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs in careers in finance, marketing, hospitality, and management in high schools and colleges around the globe. South Carolina DECA has over 3,000 student members. Students competed at the regional competition, which was co-hosted by Fort Mill High School and Rock Hill High School, and at the state level to advance the International Career Development Conference, which will be held in Orlando this April. Fort Mill DECA had the opportunity to present to you with one state champion last year. And now this year, we are excited to present 4 state champions and 2 South Carolina DECA state officers. First place state champion, Aubrey Heaton, in Franchise Business Plan. Francesca Goggins, Hospitality and Tourism, Professional Selling. Joshua King, Entrepreneurship. Violet Ibrahimi, Principles of Hospitality and Tourism. We also have 2 newly elected South Carolina DECA state officers. The process to become a state officer is very competitive. The process included extensive application, group interviews, campaigning on social media, and giving their campaign speech to all the voting delegates at the state conference. Having students on the state leadership team is an honor and an accomplishment for our district. Campbell Ayers, Vice President of Finance. Francesca Goggins, Vice President of Marketing. That's the DECA Diamond. The 2025 International Career Development Conference will welcome over 20,000 members and advisors from all over the world. The Fort Mill Business Department is beyond proud of the entire DECA team and are confident they're going to continue to be amazing and be awesome at the International Conference and in life. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Amazing accomplishments. And to keep some of the excitement going, now we're going to hear a school level update. We've got a school spotlight to discuss Fort Mill High School. Mr. Zach Beam.
Thank you so much. And that was a perfect segue, recognizing a great team, 3-time state champion, and also going into one of our marketing programs in DECA and being recognized here. So I appreciate that. I got to work this. There we go. All right. So again, good evening, members of the board, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak about Fort Mill High School tonight. I'd also like to thank Dr. Wakesness and the District Office Administration for the invitation to share all the great things that are happening at Fort Mill High School. And over the past 2.5 years, I've had the privilege of watching these school spotlight presentations. I continue to be amazed by the incredible students, teachers, and leaders that make up this district. Fort Mill High School is fortunate to be the high school home for students coming from some of the best middle schools and elementary schools in the state. And I've seen firsthand the great work happening in our feeder schools, and it is because of their strong foundation that our students continue to excel once they arrive at Fort Mill High School. Fort Mill High School has built a strong reputation for academic excellence, earning recognitions at the local, state, and national levels. Focusing on state metrics, Fort Mill High School continues to be one of the highest performing high schools in the state. This year, we earned an excellent rating on our South Carolina report card. This places us among the highest rated traditional public high schools in the state of South Carolina. Our students consistently outperform the state averages in all 4 end-of-course subject areas. And one standout area in U.S. history, and my teachers will be mad if I did not mention this, where our student success has drawn the attention of other schools across the state. Educators are now visiting Fort Mill High School to learn how they can replicate the strategies we use in our classroom so they can try to replicate it at their own schools. And most notably, our graduation rate continues to rise, now an impressive 97.8%, well above the state average of 85.4%. This just shows we are preparing students for what waits outside our halls. Whether it is to enter the workforce, go to college, or join the military, the Fort Mill High School students are prepared for the challenges that they're going to face. On a national level, Fort Mill High School continues to exceed expectations. Our average student SAT score is 1138, 130 points higher than the state average. Our students' ACT composite score outpaces district and state averages. And our AP success has steadily increased over the past 5 years, culminating in an outstanding year in 2024. With over 600 students participating in the AP testing and having taken over 869 tests, with an impressive 94% of those students earned a score of 3 or higher.
Oops.
Well,
Somebody may lean on it.
Somebody's leaning against it. There you go.
that was a big data point. I appreciate that. But that means those students had earned the college credit, and they can take it with them from just being in the halls of Fort Mill High. And all that's geared around the success of our Fort Mill High School is a true team effort. Our students set the bar high, working hard to achieve their goals and push themselves to new heights. Behind them are dedicated teachers who bring passion and expertise into the classroom every single day, ensuring students are challenged, supported, and prepared for the future. Our administrators and support staff create a learning environment where students can thrive, providing the structure and resources needed for success. Our families are invaluable partners in this journey, reinforcing the importance of education and supporting their students every step of the way. And finally, our community plays a vital role, offering opportunities, mentorship, and unwavering support. Is this collective effort, students, teachers, staff, families, and community, that makes Fort Mill High School not just a place of learning, but a place where connections are built and lifelong memories are made. Oh, those are great pictures. But what truly makes Fort Mill High School special is what happens outside of the classroom. Opportunities that allow students to connect with one another, to create meaningful experiences. It is the opportunities our students have to explore their passions, build real-world skills, and form lasting friendships. One way we do this is through our 38 student-led clubs. These clubs offer students the chance to step outside of their comfort zones, take on leadership roles, and collaborate with their peers, whether it's through Beta Club, Interact, or Stuco. These experiences teach skills that extend far beyond high school. More importantly, these clubs help students build connections and create memories that will always bring them back home to Fort Mill High. At Fort Mill High School, our performing arts programs are more than just extracurricular activities. They are state and nationally recognized programs that showcase the incredible talent and dedication of our students. Our marching band, theater, chorus, and dance programs have earned prestigious accolades and continue to set the bar high for excellence in the arts. But beyond awards and performances, these programs provide life-changing opportunities for our students. Through their involvement, they have traveled to places that they never imagined that they would see. Our students have performed and competed in Ireland, Italy, and across the west coast of the United States. Looking ahead, they will experience the rich culture and history of the South Carolina Lowcountry, and next year, students will have the incredible opportunity to travel to Switzerland and France. These experiences go far beyond the classroom. They allow students to explore new cultures, gain confidence, and create lasting memories, all while doing what they love. The performing arts at Fort Mill High School are not just about talent and recognition. They are about opportunity, growth, and the experience that will stay with our students for a lifetime. And athletics. Athletics at Fort Mill High School are about more than just competition. They're about excellence, discipline, and opportunity. Our athletic programs are among the most competitive in the state, with over 11 state championships in the past 3 years, including 4 this year alone. And hopefully tomorrow we'll move on to Saturday and hopefully come home with a boys basketball state championship. Our athletes continue to earn recognition at the highest levels, with 2 students being named Gatorade Players of the Year, a prestigious honor that highlights not only their athletic ability, but also their leadership and character. Beyond high school, Fort Mill athletes are regularly given opportunity to continue both their education and their athletic careers at the collegiate level. Year after year, our student athletes commit to playing at universities across the country, proving that the lessons learned on our fields and courts prepare them for success at the next level. At Fort Mill High School, athletics are more than just the game. They're a pathway to growth, lifelong friendships, and futures filled with opportunities. At the heart of all this, the clubs, the performing arts, and the athletics are the students. They are what make Fort Mill High Schools truly special. To showcase the wide range of opportunities available, I'd like to share a video created by Ms. Collins and our Fort Mill High School media tech students that are associated with the Buzz. This video captures the students' experience beyond the classroom and highlights how these opportunities help shape their high school journey.
I apologize, we're having a technical glitch again with the audio with our video system. If you give me 1 minute, I'm gonna restart it and it should start playing at that point. Just bear with me for just a second.
Oh, I'm the entertainment.
Yeah, right?
No, we don't want to see me do that. Not today. Not today.
Okay, we'll give you a pass.
When everybody leaves, I'll try it.
Right.
No video cameras though. Listen, you hear how I talk. Like you're gonna have to. There it goes. And there it is.
We've learned a lot of different things in the club that can be applied to future engineering, especially how to use the different machinery, how to run the different programs, and again, collaboration. That's just such a huge thing in the field of engineering. Be able to work with the team, share your solutions, and develop new ones alongside your peers is really important. So our club really helps develop those skills.
So I have been dancing for the past 15 years. Outside of school, I dance at a studio, and I've been dancing there for 12 years. And currently, I'm on Fort Mill High School dance team, the captain, and I've been on there for 4 years. This year, I got accepted to dance in the Macy's Day Parade. My favorite part about dancing is how many people I've met, and you meet so many people from across the country. I love dancing itself, but the teammates make it my favorite part. Being able to connect with people in such like a strong way, because you'll never have a connection like you do with your teammates.
In my opinion, the benefits of being in Key Club are getting to meet new people, being involved in activities, and just generally feeling like you're a part of a community as a part of a whole and feeling like you're doing something.
I decided to join Interact because I saw that people needed help in the community and within the school, and I just wanted to make it a better place.
My favorite thing about Interact Club is how it's gotten so popular and so many students want to see the school be a better place. And I love when we put a bunch of posters up around because it just makes the school look more fun.
My role as student council is an at-large member. Basically, an at-large member helps come up with like event ideas, like themes with Spirit Week, prom, homecoming, and we help give students a voice in what they want to see throughout the school year.
The national convention trip was super awesome. I competed in the environmental and natural resources competition at the national level, and I placed gold as an individual, which was really exciting.
I joined FFA because I want to be a veterinarian, and I just love the animals.
So most people think of FFA as like, oh, farmers, agriculture, whatever, but like there's so much more to it. There's leadership sides to it.
Easily all the people I've met. They're fantastic people, and each and every one of them they're my friends for life.
My favorite part is getting to travel all over the country and perform in various places.
I think I like most about DECA is definitely the experiences that I've been able to have because of DECA. And I've been to Charleston twice, and this past year I went to California, and I never thought I would ever go to anywhere like that. So it's just a good opportunity to just see and do more things and meet a lot of different people.
I'm on the track and cross country team. I would say our team is very close. We practice together every day. And I'm a 6-time state champion, and I had the mile state record at 4:54.
So with the team, we're all like brothers. We come over and hang out with each other every day outside of wrestling, and we all push each other. And for myself, I got second in the state this year, third last year, fourth the year before that. But I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I'm not satisfied till I win it.
And that concludes the school spotlight. I want to thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to highlight Fort Mill High School. There's no place like it. So any questions?
Yes, I have a couple questions.
I'm ready.
You're on. Since you have your DECA students with you, I want to put one of them on the spot, and then I'm going to come to you, Josh. You want to come and tell? You want to come and tell the folks around Fort Mill, the town of Fort Mill, what you love about being a Yellow Jacket?
Oh yeah, it's yours. The spotlight's all for me.
Yeah, of course. So I completely understand. We can talk about as many facts or as many stats as we want to, but take it from someone who works down in Rock Hill, who works with many high school students in Rock Hill, as well as is involved in many organizations up in Charlotte and around many high school students who go to Charlotte. There's really no place like Fort Mill. It's a community. It's a place where I can walk into this building and I know that there are teachers who care about me, not only just through their time in their classroom, but outside of it. They're always asking me how their day is, how my home life is, everything like that. There's no place like Fort Mill that truly cares about me, not only as a student, but as a person. There's no other place that offers such a nurturing feeling. And I mean, like the video showed, there's so much that Fort Mill students are involved in outside of a classroom. I mean, while I was just hearing the announcements every single morning, obviously just last week we heard about DECA, but this week we've had many students who competed in our academic challenge team, and many of them placed for our states. Obviously we just had a wrestling team recognized. Next week we'll go have a basketball team recognized. There's so much, yes sir, we are. There's just so much greatness in Fort Mill High, but honestly sometimes it's easy to overlook it. It's easy to overlook the fact that for so many other high schoolers and so many other students, they treat school as something they're in for 8:40 to 3:40. At Fort Mill High, it's different. It's hard to find someone at Fort Mill High who isn't involved in something after school, whether it's a sport, whether it's a club, whether it's just going to even football games or sporting events and just showing your school spirit. Fort Mill High just goes so unrecognized in that, and that's what really makes it truly special. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So 2.5 years you've been principal.
Yeah.
3?
Going on third. On the third year, yes.
I've seen you several times when I visited school. What can you share with the public that you would say you're most proud of?
I'm proud of the people in the building, and that's the students and the staff and faculty. We are lucky to have the people that we have. They come to work, and from this teacher standpoint, they come to work, and their main goal is to love on the kids and to give them the opportunities to be successful, and making sure that if they're struggling to meet that success that they need to get, they're going to be there as a resource to push them through, and just constantly being there for resource from one another. And we're also lucky to have the amazing family units that we have that come to Fort Mill High School that are constantly supporting the school. Can make a phone call. There's a lot of parents I can make a phone call and say, hey, I need help with this. And I'll be there in just a little bit. And that's the amazing thing about this place. And that's just not necessarily just Fort Mill High School either. I think that's the entire district. And we're lucky to have that.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
You know, I think sometimes those of us who've been here for a very long time and participated in Fort Mill High School many, many, many years ago and didn't have nearly all the activities that we saw today, it's easy to think that this is normal and that this is typical. And I can tell you, having a daughter who just recently, went away to college and met all the friends that she met there, this is not normal. This doesn't happen everywhere else in the United States. And the fact that we've got 3 high schools that embody that spirit, and it really is. We're so fortunate that I think sometimes it's almost hard to realize how lucky we are.
And I'm going to tell one last story. I remember I had the opportunity. I was in North Carolina, and I was teacher, assistant principal there. Had the opportunity to come down here, taught, been assistant principal, and now, of course, principal. And I still remember my first year, and everybody kept talking about Spirit Week, and they told me to think, like, they said you have to be out there and you have to dress up. And I'm like, okay, I've been to Spirit Weeks, I get it. And that first day, I was like, what are we doing? Like, they were not kidding. And then they said, it's all great, and when you're going to get to the pep rally, and you're going to see about 2,200 kids, that is going to be the loudest they've ever been, and they're going to cheer on everything that's going on. And I was like, I'll see it when I believe it, and it sold it. Like, that's a different feel. It's the culture of the building. It's this culture of the school, and that's established. What a great place it is. So, thank you all very much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk.
Thank you. All right, this feels out of order because we've already done a lot of stuff, but you've all received a copy of the minutes from our meeting February the 4th as well as February the 10th. Were there any adjustments first to the February 4th meeting?
No, ma'am.
All right. Any corrections or adjustments to February 10th?
No, ma'am.
All right, those will stand with unanimous consent. And then I do have some cards for public participation. I think I have 4 cards. I don't know if they need to be in a certain order, but I will call you up in the order that I have them in front of me. Everybody will have about 3.5 minutes to address the board. And so our first up is Carl Young. If you will state your name and address, and then the time is yours.
Good evening. Carl Young, 1116 Gower Street, Fort Mill. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Fort Mill School Board, Dr. Epps, Mr. Young. On November 5th, 2024, the School Board of Trustees voted 6-1 to approve the rezoning plans for the district. During some of the discussion, the board addressed parent concerns regarding sending their kids to Flint Hill Elementary. I'm going to paraphrase a couple quotes from the board members. Our district's commitment to student safety is backed by stringent guidelines crafted with local, state, and federal entities, and ensures that our secure schools are prioritized over unverified internet research and new company promises. I trust the unmatched credentials of the EPA and fire chiefs to ensure site safety, and I am confident that our district will continue to implement the necessary protocols effectively. As a result of the rezoning, a group of parents reached out to the Southeast Pediatric Environmental Health Specialty Unit. The Southeast PEHSU is affiliated with Emory University, one of the top universities in the Southeast. If you haven't heard of the PEHSU, they are a national resource and part of a national network dedicated to protecting the health and welfare of children by addressing environmental factors that may affect their well-being. They provide expert guidance on the intersection of environmental exposure and pediatric health and are partially funded by the EPA. We asked them for a letter for guidance on this unique situation, and I want to read some key points from their letter. Our goal is to work with local stakeholders, including Fort Mill decision makers, to provide resources and education on potential health risks associated with known chemical exposures and to ensure that the necessary actions are taken to protect the health of children and families in the community. In accordance with the precautionary principle, which states it is our social responsibility as decision makers to protect the public when scientific evidence about the environment and human health hazards is uncertain and the stakes are high. Given the types of chemicals and their properties listed in permits in the Silfab Solar Risk Management Plan, including but not limited to anhydrous ammonia, hydrochloric acid, hydrofluoric acid, silane, along with the quantities stored, we urge the school sitting decision makers to consider an independent third party to conduct a comprehensive evaluation of the potential health and safety impacts posed by this or any new industrial process that is constructed within proximity of childcare or learning centers. Specifically, the EPA recommends a sound technical assessment of both on-site and nearby potential hazards be conducted to determine whether such hazards might pose a threat to students or school staff. In this case, SILFAB's operations located adjacent and less than a quarter mile from Fort Mill Learning Centers should provide adequate justification for its geographical location. You've heard from parents, myself included, telling you of the potential danger of having SILFAB next door. You have now heard from guidance from foremost experts in pediatric health and safety regarding the Flint Hill schools, and now the question is, what are you going to do about it? You now have a choice as the deciding body over the Fort Mill School District. If you continue your ostrich approach, you risk a significant industrial accident severely impacting one or two of your schools and numerous students and staff affected. You also have the choice to exercise your legal right as an adjacent property owner to intervene in the mediation of SILFAB's appeal of the BZA decision. The parents of the kids attending those schools would support that decision, and you would show the community you do take safety seriously and not just provide it lip service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chad Strong.
Sure.
Yep.
So this is their letter from, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad.
Good evening. Chad Strong, 735 West Cheval Drive, Fort Mill, South Carolina, 29708. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. This issue is very personal to me. I came to Fort Mill in 1991 when I was 11 years old. Dr. Epps, don't mean to call you out, but you were my principal when I first came here in fifth grade.
Did you make all A's?
Yes, sir. I was first one in my family to go to college. I have a bachelor's degree, graduate degree, which my parents are very proud of that fact. So it was a no-brainer to me when my employer allowed us to live in South Carolina to sell a home that we bought brand new only 4 years before to move here so that my kids can go to Fort Mill schools. My wife is third generation Fort Mill. Her family actually lived on the property that sits almost across from the Flint Hill schools up until not too long ago. So when on our way over here, when she said that this issue is very important because Fort Mill is not where we live, is our home, that hit home to me. I come here tonight because I've heard recently that folks that are having the issue, the parents have been told that we are listening to internet researchers and we should listen to the experts. To the people saying that, I would want to say with all due respect, I am an expert. I've been in law enforcement for 20 years. I've served this very community for 17 as a firefighter. I'm a hazardous materials instructor, technician. I'm a bomb technician. I've been tendered in district court and superior court as an expert witness. Hazardous materials are a lot of what I've done for the past 20 years. So when I see the materials that SILFAB is bringing close to these schools, it scares the living crap out of me. So if you will permit me, I took a few minutes to go through what I use as my Bible every day when I'm at work. If I have to respond to a hazardous materials incident, to look up some of the major materials that they will have in large quantities. So if you'll permit me to read, anhydrous ammonia. For a small daytime leak under low wind conditions during the day, there's a half-mile protection area around where that leak occurs. Flint Hill schools are within half a mile. Anhydrous ammonia produces very extremely irritating and corrosive vapors. In fact, when I teach hazardous materials and explosives, I show a video to start of a deputy that's killed within 30 seconds of coming in contact with an anhydrous ammonia cloud, not realizing what he's in. Silane, of which there will be over 22,000 gallons kept on site. It's easily ignited by heat, sparks, or flames, will form explosive mixtures in air, and will ignite spontaneously in air and may reignite. It will polymerize, which will change its state of matter when heated, and the vapors may cause dizziness or asphyxiation. hydrofluoric and hydrochloric acid, of which there will be over 5,000, 7,000 pounds respectively. They're corrosive, they're toxic, and these will be within range of our children, and there is no way to get them out before they will be exposed. And I employ each of you, please be our representatives. I'm not asking, I'm begging, speak for our kids. Keep them away from our schools.
Ashley Mock.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Mock. I'm a parent in the district. As a concerned parent, I've been a child of this district for 3 years. I've been an advocate for my child. You have some of the most amazing staff I've ever seen in this district. Unfortunately, they are being silenced and not allowed to talk to parents. So this is not from my school, so please, if you know where my child is at school, please, it has nothing, no one from there. It is across your districts. These are some statements I'd like to read. I really would have liked to have received more information with my district decided with which teachers would be sent there. My own children will be starting school soon, and I certainly don't feel comfortable with them attending in a building so close to toxic chemicals. My main concern at this point is for myself and other teachers who have been assigned there. Many of us have serious hesitations about sending our children to these schools. Another statement says, I am deeply concerned about our new schools that will soon have Silfab Solar as our neighbor. In my research, a school has no business putting their children at risk by placing them next to a potentially dangerous facility like Silfab. I cannot understand why our district isn't putting up a fight to prevent this from happening. As I see it, you're letting everyone in Fort Mill down. I used to be proud of this district, but with the Silfab moving next to our schools, we will become a district that people will avoid. I strongly encourage you, the board members, to step up and fight on behalf of our children and staff. Fight to prevent Silfab from moving next to our school. And the last statement I'm going to read is, from a teacher's point of view, working adjacent to Silfab is frightening. All day, every day, I would wonder not if, but when an explosion of highly toxic chemicals would occur. Doesn't matter what the plan of action or safety protocols, the state or school district has no place. No one is safe, and we will not be able to get our children out safely. No one should be expected to work like that, especially when children are involved. What is so upsetting and fundamentally wrong is that Fort Mill School District has not voiced an opposition to Silfab, not one, except for maybe a few or one of the district employees. FMSD is a very large entity, and standing up against Silfab would have spoken volumes, but instead silence. I'm scared to work here, play sports games, or even drive by there. And lastly, I'd like to end with scripture. For anything that is hidden will eventually be brought to light into the open, and every secret will be brought to light.
Thank you. I would just share that we did receive the letter that you handed to us earlier, and I know have been in touch with Dr. Mutic, I think is the name, awaiting some additional information, as well as some discussions with EPA. So we did receive it and are looking into it. We've got one other card that I don't think is related, so I wanted to go ahead and share that. Cora Lyles, I think. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Cora Lyles, and I live at 819 Daly Circle in Fort Mill. And I want to thank Chairwoman Spears, the board, and Dr. Epps for allowing me to speak. It's in reference to the naming of the new Early Learning Center. And I just want to thank and commend the board for reconsidering the name of the new Early Learning Center. And I hope that you vote to name it the Paradise Early Childhood Center. Naming the center the Paradise Early Childhood Center will connect the center with its neighboring community, the Paradise community. This is consistent with how the school district has named so many schools in the town in the past. The Paradise community is a historic community where many residents in the town have worked to contribute to the success and growth of Fort Mill since the 1800s. Incorporating the blue and gold colors of the dolphin mascot of the historical George Fish School will tie the educational aspect of the former historic Rosenwald School that once thrived in the community. And there are many who have graduated from that school that have gone on to serve their town, their state, and their country in many areas of society, including on a local level. as farmers, laborers in manufacturing, and on state and national levels, in education, medical fields, and in the military, and more. And so I urge you, I hope that you cast your vote to name the school the Paradise Early Childhood Center. And just thank you for your time.
Thank you. We've now got a set of reports and information, the first of which is a discussion about the 2024 Hall of Fame class. Mr. Mike Hill.
Thank you, Dr. Epps and members of the school board for allowing me a few minutes to present the nominees for the 2024 Fort Mill School District Hall of Fame. I'm Mike Hill, and I'm spokesman for the Hall of Fame Committee. The Hall of Fame was established in 2016 to honor graduates of Fort Mill school districts and other persons whose interests and activities, whether professional, vocational, or voluntary, have resulted in significant contributions to the betterment of the school district, their communities, their states, and/or our nation. Our nominees this year are Doug Chapman. Mr. Chapman is a longtime volunteer with the Fort Mill High School football. He's been part of the volunteer chain crew for nearly 60 years. The second is Arabelle Love. Ms. Love was a beloved teacher at the George Fish School, where she taught home economics in the early 50s. She went on to become a guidance counselor at Fort Mill Junior High School shortly after the integration of schools. Margaret Lundy. Ms. Lundy was a graduate of Fort Mill High School who later served more than 30 years in the transportation department, driving buses and training drivers. Keebler Mills. Keebler Mills Jr. was the band director at Fort Mill High from 1959 to 1971. He's credited with bringing Fort Mill bands out of the doldrums with his fun, upbeat music. And Cherry Young. Cherry Young worked with the Fort Mill School District for nearly 45 years, working with students in multiple roles before moving to the district office, where she served as the assistant curriculum coordinator. We, the committee, believe that this is an exceptional group of nominees and hope the board will approve their inclusion. Respectfully submitted, the Hall of Fame Committee, Dr. Chuck Epps, Scott Patterson, Rudy Sanders, Vereen Brown, Mayor Gwen Savage, Patrick White, and Michael Hill. I need to especially thank Jennifer Overman, who keeps us all informed and on task during our meetings. Thank you.
Wonderful.
We don't officially approve them, right? We just
Officially approve
yeah.
them at the next meeting.
At the next
We
meeting.
didn't do, we've never.
Always do.
Okay.
We need, the
But do
problem
we
with
have a
waiting,
schedule?
if we could go ahead and do it, the problem with waiting is we've got to get the banquet going. And we've never,
Is the banquet prior to our next
it's
meeting?
in April.
Okay. I would say get the banquet going.
Okay.
Oh, for sure.
I think it's completely okay to get the banquet going.
Okay.
Based on those names, no reason not to plan a party.
Agree.
Right?
Party on.
All right.
Young.
The next is us. Several of us spent the weekend in Myrtle Beach at the South Carolina School Board Association. I was in and out a little bit. I don't know who would like to kind of talk about some of the topics first. And we had a number of different breakout sessions, so everybody was kind of in different places.
So keynote speakers were fantastic. And I think I came back from a national event that I was at, I don't know, last year sometime, and tried to kind of start a little something with Tell Me Something Good.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a keynote guy, it's Swindoll. I want to say Clint, but I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to say that's not right. So Clint Swindoll, I think it's the right one, is all about, you know, we hear a lot of negativity, and we are consumed and overwhelmed by all of the negativity. And he made a flip with his staff and people that he works with and whatnot that totally flipped the script and made a huge difference in everybody's day. And it starts with, tell me something good. And then literally the music came on, by the way. So that was one that kind of got us started.
And I would say when we listened to that one, One of the things that I thought about is how much I appreciate the fact that we start these meetings
Yes.
with
School
something that we
spotlights
like
and
to
something
be
fun and
told something great.
good. Yeah,
So,
yeah. And I actually did that on the state level with the state board. That was how we started all of our board meetings, was tell me something good. And it's not about necessarily what you're doing in your school and in your classroom. It's about what's something good about you. What's something that you're proud of, happy with, whatever the case happens to be. So take that home with you. Think on that. Tell me something good. Dr. Brown was phenomenal. And yes, I stood in line and got a few little books and a great t-shirt that I love that says, "Because Kids." So it has become my new favorite sweatshirt, t-shirt rather. I wish it was nicer material, but somebody knows what I'm talking about. I wish it was nicer material. Breakout sessions were phenomenal. I think it was one of the better conferences that we've had. It was the 75th anniversary of the South Carolina School Boards Association. And I'm very proud to say that I have the most coveted title in all volunteerism, which is immediate past president. So.
anything you want to add?
I would just say Doc Brown was probably, I've been going to conferences in South Carolina for close to 30 years, and he was one of the best speakers I've ever seen.
Yeah,
agreed. And he said, I told you, I'm going to ask everybody to do this. One of the things, he talked a lot about, you never know what's in somebody's backpack and what they're carrying and what they're sort of, and even in your own backpack, people don't know what you're going through. And he asked everybody in the crowd to think, so I'm going to ask you to do it right now, to think about all the people you love and get that list in your head right now. Now, where are you on that list?
Right.
Most people, especially the people in this room that serve other people, don't have themselves on anywhere on that list. And that is, it was very powerful even to think about that, that people don't know what you're going through and you don't know what they're going through. And I thought his message was really powerful. So.
I had a lot of takeaways. One was that there were 91 new board members across the state. So I thought that said a lot, that across the state there were 91 and we didn't have any.
Right.
So yay for our incumbents. One thing that I really took away that I need to think on and ponder is when we had a breakout with larger districts, that it is very difficult to balance autonomy and alignment. And I think that that could be a growing pain that is true for us here in Fort Mill. And I was like, ooh, because I used to be so proud of all the autonomy we have. And now I need to pivot because we're bigger to what it looks like for us to be aligned. I thought a neat idea that a district had was to have a district retention task force to get ideas from their teachers on why teachers should stay or would stay. Loved the dignity index. I have it right here. So if I decide to get out of hand, Dr. Epps can say, that's a level 1 now. The person who trained us on dignity index said that when you're in a conflict, you can either solve a problem or win an argument. And that one hit home with me. So it was a great conference.
Yep.
Good speakers.
Anything else?
Yeah, Doc Brown was definitely the highlight of the weekend by miles, in my opinion. He had, I mean, you get around some speakers and they just have one-liner after one-liner and they all hit. It's just like, oh my God, and you ain't even got time to write it down. And then by that time he says something else. It's like, wow, that's just life-changing stuff. And he's just such a genuine guy. Just got to have a brief, just one-off session. I just happened to catch him, and just got to speak to him for a little while. Just a super genuine, down-to-earth guy who absolutely had complete command of a room. Just has that gifting about him. And the way he showed up, he's got like this whole routine where he dresses one way and he just like kind of secretly like walks through the crowd, and it's not someone you would expect to be taking the platform at that stage. And then this guy walks out and he just has complete command of the room, and the words that he says just hold. You know how like some people can say something and someone else can say the exact same thing, but when this person says it, there's a weightiness to it. That's what this guy carries. So if you've never heard of him, I encourage you to do what I did. I found him on Instagram as quickly as I could. Doc, his name's Adolph Brown. I can't remember what his handle is, but you could, yeah, Doc Speaks or something like that. But yeah, Adolph Brown is his name. He's got one of the most incredible stories you've ever heard. If you take 50 minutes to an hour, it will be a huge investment in your life. I can guarantee you that.
That was Joe's nice way of saying that he told the love story way better than I did, but that's all right.
All right. Was it our last meeting that we discussed the fact that Dr. Epps has made a big decision in his life and is going to be joining the retirement ranks at the end of the school year?
Was that only 2 weeks ago?
I don't know. Well, we skipped a meeting.
It's been a month.
I think we skipped a meeting, so it's been a month. But it was our last meeting. Right.
I got to tell you something real quick. So I spent a lot of time with Dr. Epps at this last conference, and I swear everybody in the world came up, shook his hand, and said congratulations. He was like, "Do people think I'm getting married or something?" Everybody's congratulating me.
They're just jealous.
They are.
But with that decision comes some work that we've got to take care of to make sure that we try to find a replacement candidate to at least halfway fill the shoes. So a couple board members have been hard at work beginning that process, and I think, Lippy, you're going to share with us an update of how that's going to go down?
I am. And I'm just going to read it because we've been doing a lot and I didn't want to leave anything out. Replacing a superintendent, especially a superintendent that has meant as much to a district as Dr. Epps has meant to Fort Mill, is one of the most critical decisions for a school board. The characteristic and commitment the 7 of us have in common is a deep love for the Fort Mill School District. We understand the concerns and curiosity our stakeholders might be feeling as we engage in a process our district hasn't been through since our current seniors were in 4K. It is our goal to provide transparency in the decision-making process and provide updates at each of our public sessions. Tonight, we would like to outline our timeline and overview of the superintendent search process. One important thing to recognize during this process is that Dr. Epps is still our superintendent and will be actively continuing his work until June 30th. We do not want this process to distract him from that critical role, so our search is running concurrently but independently. It is to our advantage that Dr. Epps will continue to lead us but has announced his retirement in time for us to complete a comprehensive search. Our board search committee consists of Mr. Bodie, Dr. Frateroli, and myself. Our role is to streamline points of contact, facilitate timelines and meetings, and act as a liaison group for the board during this process. Stakeholder input is going to be paramount in this process as the 7 of us consider the gravity of the decision we are tasked with making. The board has made the decision to engage with a search firm to assist us in this process. While we know Fort Mill should and will attract top candidates for this position, we also want to make sure that we are actively engaging with potential candidates to make sure we get the best of the best for our district. We recognize that our tradition of excellence requires us to seek excellence. A search firm will be an asset for our district in this process. The board reviewed several national search firms and read through their proposals of how they could help us, bless you, with making the best possible decision. We have discussed with them their criteria in selecting candidates to present to all of us, how best to make sure that all stakeholders have an opportunity to share their ideas, and what makes Fort Mill a great place to live, learn, and work. We feel confident that the firm we are recommending tonight will help us communicate that our fast-growing district has a strong culture that has developed from our small-town roots and has been able to consistently maintain excellence and achievement while remaining mindful of areas upon which we can improve. If we all agree on using this search firm, then March and April will be busy months for all of us and for our community. In March, beginning tonight, we will confirm our search firm and approve the letter of understanding, meet with the search firm consultants on March 18th for an overview of the search and decisions needed, discussion of community engagement activities, approval of the advertising plan, and approval of our final search calendar. We will organize a 4-part community engagement process, which includes interviews with board members the week of March 10th, community engagement with internal and external small group meetings, public forums in the community, and an online superintendent search survey March 14th through March 21st. I apologize about another survey, but this one is really important. In April, the search firm will present a community engagement report to the board and a draft leadership profile for board approval on April 1st. They will post the job position on reputable approved websites, open a web-based application system for electronic submissions, reach out to highly successful school leaders whose experience, background, and skills may align with the school district's needs, assess the qualification of applicants, and use a unique candidate profile to evaluate the fit for the school district based on the leadership profile. Applications will be due by April 28th, 2025. In May, we will select candidates to interview from the applicants presented by the search firm. We will conduct initial and finalist interviews and hopefully present our candidate at a special called meeting on May 22nd, 2025. As I mentioned earlier, the process of selecting the next leader for our district and school community is a monumental task for the board. We are committed to conducting a superintendent search that is both thorough and transparent so we can continue to build upon the hard work and efforts of our students and staff, the accountability demanded by our stakeholders, and the excellence in our results that our school family deserves.
Questions?
Don't have a question, but I'd like to make a statement, and I'd like it for the minutes and the record, if you please, Ms. Jackley. Because of my affiliation and association as the immediate past president and sitting president until this past December of the South Carolina School Boards Association, I recused myself from any involvement as it relates to selecting the firm to do our search because I did not want there to be any concern or perceived concern that there might be a conflict of interest.
And the South Carolina School Board Association
Association
was
does handle that.
an organization that was considered
Right.
in the process of determining which route we wanted to go. Right. Okay. Any other comments, questions? As Lippy mentioned, it is relatively fast-paced, but certainly very doable. And I was pleased when I was reviewing all the materials at just the level of feedback and information from community teachers, administrators. Like they really have a good, I call it a 360-degree kind of a feedback process to make sure that we're hearing from all different avenues in terms of building that profile of what we would be looking for going forward.
That was a big deal for us when we met, is that there will be an opportunity for every single stakeholder to provide feedback in this process, which is fantastic.
Opportunity present.
Yep.
You have to cross the threshold.
So we'll be voting on that in just a minute, but we've got, oops, screen died. Got a couple other agenda items first, unless there's any more discussion on that. Okay, Ms. Lordo is at a conference tonight, so she is not here. So Dr. Epps is going to do his best Lordo impression and talk numbers to us.
She wrote everything. Can you hear me? Am I on, Joe? She wrote everything down, so I'll just read it. And Anthony, if you have questions, you got to call her on the phone, I believe. The monthly financial report for January 31st, we're in 7 months into the fiscal year, January 31, as of January 31. Total revenues, $167,695,471. Total expenditures, $126,428,130. An increase of 41,000 positive cash flow, and that's attributed to the recent collection of taxes. Real estate taxes, $47,081,069. January tax collections were strong, 92% of budgeted amount collected, consistent with prior year at this time. Vehicle tax collections were for this month $1,529,477, and fee in lieu of taxes, which is an interesting number, $6,140,065. Questions about the monthly? Okay, let's.
No.
All right,
You're good. Keep
talk
going.
about impact fees.
right.
Total collected to date, $73,595,988. Single-family units, 2876. Multifamily, 1779, for a total of 4,655 units. February alone had 21 homes and 15 multifamily units added. So that's comparable data for the 12 months rolling information on the single-family from February 23rd to February 24th last year to 24th this year to 25th this year. We're, as far as single family, we're up 15%. It's 425 units, single family versus 367 year over year. So it is coming back, probably largely attributed to Elizabeth. Comparable data for 12 months rolling for multifamily from 23-24 to 24-25. We're at 138 units in last year, and 2 years ago, and last year we were 100, so we're 27% less on multifamily, so it's a little different dynamic there. Calendar year average 2024 average collections $839,650 per month, still trending about $800 per month. The February actual total, however, with the short month was $561,618. We did meet last night, and I don't know, Christie, if you want to make some comments, or I can make some comments about the first meeting of the.
So last night was York County's first reading of the ordinance to adopt the revised impact fee. We had presentations by Leanne, the consulting firm that did the study, Jim Britton that does the project management for our district, and I said a couple words. We also had a good bit of public input, representing everything from the legal side. Our former attorney that has dealt with us on the impact fee made sure that it was clear that this has been done in concurrence with all legal approaches. We talked about the bond notes and what would have been the situation for our community had we not had the impact fee for the last, so that's 73 million plus I think about 6 million in interest. So we're pushing 80 million that would have been on the backs of our taxpayers. We're sitting around 70 something mils for debt service. We were scheduled and would have been at the 120 plus range. So it has made a material difference to our taxpayers. We had a number of angles from developers who, as much as they would prefer not to have to pay an impact fee, they know the importance of the tax benefit on the other side of that coin. It is worth it in the long run. So I think it was a great discussion, and we've learned so much in the last 7 or 8 years that it was easy to talk about because we really understand what's going on with impact fees. It did pass unanimously for the 5 that were there. We only had 5 county council members that were in attendance, including one of our own that had something done previously and wasn't able to be there. So, we felt good about that. There is sticker shock about the amount. There's no doubt about it, and we discussed that briefly. There is still the realization that whether they should or not, our developers likely pass that fee on, which means every house costs X amount more, and that gives some heartburn just because of the size of the dollar. But I do think that they appreciated and truly believe and understand the calculation is just that. It is a mathematical calculation. And it's not an opinion piece of whether we think that should be the right number, wrong number, whatever. That is what it costs based on true law of large numbers of 0.5 something kids per household, per single family, and 0.3 something kids per multifamily. So that is what is driving the increase that, there is no question is continuing to happen. So we will go back for second reading on the 17th. Which at that point we expect to have all 7 board members, 7 council members. There will not be a presentation, but there will very likely be some conversation and discussion and potentially some questions. That's what I got out of last night. I don't know.
Third reading, April.
Third reading is
There's a week
2
off.
weeks
in
later.
there.
Yeah, 3 weeks
That's
later.
3, yeah.
Okay.
I'd just like to thank the people in the room that are seeing me for the second night in a row. I thought it was really great to see how many school folks were there supporting what is so critical to what's happening with our district. So I think we're going to need to continue to see that support the next 2 times this is up in front of the council. So thank you for the folks and thank your folks that were there last night that aren't here tonight. So.
Tom Audette did call me this morning, and he said it was great to see the showing. Now, for those of you who were there, I think Christy was concerned that every single one that was there was going to stand up and speak, and we were going to be there until midnight. So that wasn't necessary, but just the show of support and the breadth of across the entire district was beneficial.
There were a
I
lot of
think.
people upstairs. Hopefully, she saw a picture of everybody standing.
Yeah.
So.
All right. All right.
So I gotta give an
Anything
update
else
on
you
the
got?
State budget. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is that time of year. As you know, the budget
Okay.
starts with, all the departments, Department of Ed, make their recommendations to the governor. The governor submits his budget in January at the state of the state. Then it goes to the Ways and Means Committee of the House. That's where it is now. And so they all have differing versions. Governor McMaster wants the teacher pay to begin at $50,000. The House Ways and Means came out with a 48.5 starting point on theirs. So the Senate will have to deal with what to do when the budget passes the House and goes to the Senate. So the teacher salary schedule is usually the most costly item in the budget. That's where they are with that. So they're split on that. The state proposed scale collapses to 4 categories and deletes bachelor plus 18. That's only important to teachers. You get a bump every time you at every degree level, and for some reason they had a degree, bachelor's plus 18. They gave you a $2,000 bump. They eliminated that and went straight from a bachelor's degree to a master's degree. So that's the change in their proposal. March 11 through 13, the full House deliberates. March 8 through 10, the Senate Finance Budget discusses. April 22nd through 24th, the full Senate budget. So the Senate will start with what the House ends with and either go up or down on their proposals. The one thing that's in there that concerns us in Fort Mill, and this is not the budget bill, this is the scholarship, education scholarship bill, where your dollars will, I can't believe we're at this point in our state, but we are. We're going to send public dollars to help fund children that go to private and parochial schools. That ship's going to sail, I believe, even though it's been ruled to be unconstitutional. I believe it's going to happen. We're not worried about that in Fort Mill. What we're worried about is one part of it is called open enrollment. And I'll just go ahead and say, if that comes in, we do have concerns. That's where students could go to Fort Mill schools that do not live in Fort Mill, but already put a strain on fast-growing districts. So keep your eye on that. We're trying to work our way through it and get some exceptions or get some parameters put around, some protections put around us, some guardrails where we would have some room to either absorb students or say we're full. So that's kind of one of those. Before I retire, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. That's going to be huge going forward, I believe, in my opinion.
See, now you can say what you really feel.
I've been doing this since I've seen the Democrats in control. I've seen the Republicans in control. I've tried to play nice with all of them. Now I don't have to do it.
Yeah, this House and the Senate version are different for that.
Yes.
For the education scholarship, there's different criteria, different thresholds. The open enrollment piece is slightly different. So we shall see. We shall see. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it still goes against the Constitution of the state of South Carolina to fund public education.
Well,
So,
we'll
just
see
keep
what the
telling
Supreme
them
Court
that.
says. All right. Anything else?
That's all.
From Leanne? Okay. All right, we have a couple action items. We're going to start with new high school courses. Dr. Scruggs.
All right, this is the second time this year I've come to you with new high school courses, so I cut out the slides that walk you through the process. I think you're experts at it at this point. But we have a couple of big things we want to make sure we create the opportunities for our kids to be successful in. So tonight I'm bringing in front of you cosmetology and basically anything that our kids could take at York Tech, so we don't keep coming back every year with, hey, here's a change, here's a change. We just want to be proactive and make sure we cover all the changes until they add new classes. All right, so first things first, a new CTE program, cosmetology. We have already hired a qualified instructor. We have facilities renovation. The planning stage is underway. They're going to break ground soon. We're going to be ready for next school year to start the program, but we have to approve the program. So that's what I'm bringing forward to you today. We're going to launch next year. We'll offer 2 courses. Cosmetology 1 and Cosmetology 2. We obviously don't have any students that meet the prerequisite of 1 and 2 to go to 3 and 4, so we're going to have smaller classes, but just 1s and 2s, and then the next year we'll roll on 3s and 4s for the students that want to progress to that and bring in a new crop, and then moving forward it'll be 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s every year in perpetuity. So it's got a rollout over the next 2 years. The course aligns with our state and district academic CTE standards. And really, with you approving the course tonight, we're ensuring that our students have the ability to get credentials and certification eligibility while in high school. So it looks like this, a 2-year program, about 1,500 hours. They have to take the class for 3 hours daily to get the credit, which is different than any other program we have. That means first and second block would be, for instance, Cosmetology 1, and in the spring, first and second block would be Cosmetology 2. We'll leave it up to the instructor if they want to do that, or 1-2 fall, 1-2 spring, but basically the math all ends up the same. They have to have that many contact hours of 3 daily hours for 1, 3 daily hours for 2, and so on and so forth. They're going to get trained in hair care, skin care, nail care, salon management, science foundations, a little bit of chemistry, bacteriology, anatomy, and practical application, demonstrating technique on live models, mannequins. It's going to be all over the place, and they get professional business training as well with that salon management. They're going to learn if they want to set out on their own career and be their own boss. They're going to get some training in high school on how to do that. So the key requirements for the program, you have to participate in an application. We want to make sure we're setting the students, dividing our opportunities fairly between the 3 high schools, and also connecting the students that have career goals in this pathway with the opportunities to get in the class. There's going to be much larger demand than supply in terms of what we can offer for seats. So that's why an application process. Consistent attendance is going to be crucial, because if they are absent, they won't be able to get all the hours they need for licensure. So that's encouraging high attendance as part of that application process. And then we want to make sure that our students are graduating career ready with those industry skills and business skills to get out there in the real world. So our new courses will be Cosmetology 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're asking for next year for you to approve all 4, although 1 and 2 will only be offered in 25-26. 3 and 4 will come online in 26-27. I can answer any questions about this now. Yes, sir.
I know you mentioned earlier, preface, that there were some guidances. You know, there are some schools that specialize in athletics that are very good, and schools that are that are good at certain subjects, or not subjects, but particular topics, sports, academics,
Science and math.
right? Yes. Are there any particular schools we're benchmarking in this state that do well at cosmetology?
I know that our director of CTE, Holly Logan, she went around and took our team, including Joe Romanek and some others, to look at well-established programs to see what they have in terms of not just facilities, but what the program looks like. So as far as benchmarking, we've looked at the best programs that we can think of and gone and looked locally, looked throughout the state. They've gone to 2 or 3 schools and brought back lots of concrete, actionable steps to make sure we have sufficient bowls for washing, sufficient equipment, but also understanding what are the program needs for the academic piece. What do we want to make sure instructionally we're teaching the students so that they are not just meeting an arbitrary requirement to get a credential, but feel successful, feel confident going in and cutting hair for the first time on their own as a licensed stylist.
You know what school those are?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. Mike.
I don't have the exact school, but I know we went to
It's on Green.
Anderson.
Oh, well, how about that?
I'll repeat.
We went to one of the Anderson school districts.
Anderson 4.
We went to the Anderson for their tech center. I think they share it with 2 other districts. We visited that school. We visited one of the Lexingtons and one in the middle part of the state, Kershaw County School District, maybe their tech center. So we got to meet with the teachers of the courses, but also the directors to learn about the actual classrooms, what the classroom teacher needs, the ins and outs from their perspective, but then also the director for promoting the program and establishing kind of the rules for the program, the requirements. So we did get to visit, I think it was about 4 different schools.
Okay, thank you.
And Ms. Logan has also been in contact with existing CTE centers, so those not located at a specific school but maybe serving an entire district. She's also been in contact with some of them as well.
I have 2 questions. Given that it is 2 blocks, essentially, is there any concern about these students' abilities to get the other necessary courses throughout their high school career, and/or does it preclude them from any specific extracurriculars? Like, I don't know if that overlaps with when band would do something, or when, with athletics, if it was in the afternoon, missing hours and things like that.
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked it because that is something we've been talking with the counselors about. This decision is really a decision you're going to start making your freshman year, not in the 11th grade when you're eligible, because of what you said. You really need to make sure that you have met almost all your graduation requirements with the exception of those senior, junior only classes so that you can dedicate basically half of your schedule to cosmetology. That is going to block some students off from those singleton classes. If they were super passionate about something that's only offered 1 block a day, that's gonna be a challenge. Or if they are a brass player and there's no other way to make it work with the rest of their schedule, they may have to make a prioritization. But that's something our students do. Unfortunately, sometimes they have to choose between their passions now. But we're going to go ahead and start coaching students up as they're making decisions in the 9th grade about if you want cosmetology to be an offering that you are ready for in the 11th grade, here's the coursework. And as a matter of fact, we're going to develop a pathway that we can hand as a flyer to say, here's your checklist for 9th grade and 10th grade. Are you on target? And if not, during our yearly IGP, the counselors are going to say, okay, if this is still a goal, we need to catch up, and here's how.
Okay. My second question is, I just want to know where I volunteer as tribute to sign up for practice hair and nails whenever they need someone to be a guinea pig.
Yes, ma'am. We'll put you top of the list as the first non-mannequin haircut in
That's right.
Fort Mill School District history.
You are brave.
Any other questions about?
It'll grow back, like Michelle said, right?
I'm not doing it, but it'll grow.
Maybe some of us.
Have at it.
Any other cosmetology specific questions? Awesome. Well, we'll transition into our new dual enrollment courses. If you remember, about this time last year, I came to you with a stop the bus moment of we have some kids that York Tech put in some classes well-meaning, but these were not approved classes. And we did that to ensure that they got the credit. Now, that has happened again this year, but we're being proactive by saying, all right, what are all the classes that they could ever be put in the break glass in case of emergency situation? So I'm going to bring those to you en masse tonight. We're going to move through them very quickly so that we can say we approve for these in cases where if York Tech is doing this to help one of our students, we don't have to have an emergency situation for approval. In short, our CTE dual enrollment programs, we have 6 on campus at York Tech dual enrollment programs: auto body repair, building construction, cybersecurity, EMT, mechatronics, and welding. They have a new name for welding, but you probably know it as welding. That's what it was when our students started off there. So students are actually going to York Tech. They're sitting shoulder to shoulder sometimes with college students at York Tech for these credits. The scenario pops up that as they amend and overhaul their academic offerings, as a class doesn't make because of the enrollment of the other York Tech students, they say, uh-oh, well, we've signed a Fort Mill School District student up to be in this course, and we want to keep them progressing towards their goals. So we'll give them another industry-specific class, but it sometimes doesn't align with what we have approved with our pathway. So they've been great partners. They've kept our kids progressing. We just want to be, like I said, proactive in that response. So to ensure that, we're bringing to you tonight lots of dual enrollments, and I'm going to go through them program specific. So auto collision, these are the courses that we have not already approved, and we approved some in the past, but introduction to auto body hazardous materials, structural repair, sheet metal repair, refinishing, and automotive air conditioning. You'll notice that there's a 0.25 credit for introduction to auto body hazardous materials. Anything that's a 1 credit hour at York Tech actually receives less than a full credit at high school, and we checked with the state matrix on that to make sure. Anything that's really 2 credits and above, you'll see is a 1 credit at Fort Mill School District. But this is weighted the same as any AP or dual credit or dual enrollment class. So that's auto collision. We have building, construction, bidding and contracting, construction, labor and expediting, and advanced electricity and HVAC. All of those are 1 credit because they're all offered for 2 or more credits at York Tech. Cybersecurity, advanced Cisco, configuration, LAN system manager, IT and data assurance. All of those are 3 credit hours. All of those nice and tidy, 1 credit at the Fort Mill School District. Lots of things in mechatronics. We have, I don't want to just read it to you. I think you can look up there and be just fine with all those. But lots of things for mechatronics, really, that's smart systems, automated systems, plant managing. It's kind of a marriage of lots of different things in terms of like engineering and expediting our systems. So you'll see hydraulics, pneumatics, safety, lots of electrical things, electrical code in there. All right, so that kind of walks you through the, I think we went through all of them. Did we do cybersecurity? Yes, we did. So any questions about the dual enrollment programs through York Tech?
Okay.
So that brings us to the request before the board. 2 separate things. One, kind of asking for permission to approve cosmetology 1, 2, 3, and 4. That would be for next year, 25-26.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the administration to approve the cosmetology 1 through 4 for the following school year and thereafter.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve cosmetology 1 through 4. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Awesome, thank you. And then the administrative request, the administration requests all of those classes.
Oh, I got you covered.
Yes, ma'am. All right, I figured you probably planned ahead.
I did, twice, make sure I was right. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the administration to approve the 19 dual credit York Tech courses as presented this evening.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the 19 dual credit York Tech courses as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries as well. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you for your time. Thank you for supporting these programs.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Mr. Young is going to come up, and I apologize. Ms. Lyles has been waiting patiently to hear our discussion here.
Good evening. Had something to read similar to what I was going to say, what I said last meeting, but I don't think it does it justice after Ms. Lyles gave that beautiful history of Paradise Community and George Fish. And so she thanked you guys for reconsidering, and I just want to thank them, Mr. and Ms. Sanders, John and Juanita Sanders. Juanita was a teacher here for a long time, and Ms. Lyles, Dr. Dunlap, and Mr. Rudy Sanders for all of your input as we make this very important decision moving forward. So I want to thank you all. So our recommendation is to name the Early Childhood Center the Paradise Early Childhood Center, with the mascot as the dolphin and the colors as blue, sea star blue, and yellow. Any questions? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Apologize.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the administration to name the Early Childhood Center the Paradise Early Childhood Center using the dolphin as its mascot and using blue sea star Pantone color and Pantone yellow sea as its other color.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to name the school the Paradise Early Childhood Center with a dolphin for the mascot and a very specific blue and yellow for the colors. Any discussion? I just have a clarification, and I'm sure it's right, but just because I, in my head, thought it was Paradise Early Learning Center, was that ever talked about?
It's been
or-
called both ways.
Okay.
We've stuck with child.
We said early
I
childhood center.
just wanted to make sure I was saying the right thing going forward, so.
And I want to make sure the Pantone is Sea Star blue and yellow, but that could change depending on, the Sea Star could change. It's going to be blue and yellow, and it's going to be the dolphin, but I just want to make sure
It
that
will
it's not
eventually be a
that
very
exact.
specific blue and yellow.
Correct.
Got it.
So, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, any other questions? So,
Go ahead. Yeah, so Mr. Young, so question for you. So
Yes, sir.
I remember when Ms. Lyles and Mr. Sanders, this may have been, 7 months ago, 6 months ago, somewhere around there.
June.
Can you kind of walk us through the exercise of what took place after?
So what took place before was we did a survey to the community, got names. George Fish was obviously a very popular name. And then we brought that up for recommendation when we did Flint Hill Elementary and Flint Hill Middle. Then we spoke with the Paradise community, historical Paradise community, and these folks, and they were, very passionate about naming it Paradise. They gave us a lot of good reasons, a lot of things to think about. So we wanted so we met again and went back and talked about that, and we wanted to change it to Paradise.
Thank you.
Yep.
and I will say that one of the points that was made in the discussion earlier was we often name schools based on an area, right?
Mhm.
And so I think it makes perfect sense that that is the area of town.
Correct.
Flint Hill,
Yep.
Springfield, all those things are areas, so.
Yep.
Kingstown.
Kingstown, exactly.
How we got there.
Any other?
Yeah, I would like to add that, if nothing else, I think we've got a full clarification of where Paradise actually came from. Because I think we all kind of thought one thing,
Right.
but we got this clarification. And I think that's gonna help the community understand why we're calling it this. It's a beautiful story.
Yep.
I loved the history.
And if you remember, Mr. Rudy Sanders got up here and told us that the neighboring communities could hear the women and the children singing, and they would say it sounds like Paradise. So.
Whoever gets hired to be the music teacher at
Yeah.
Paradise Early Childhood Center has got their work cut out for them.
Yes, they do.
They better sound like angels.
4-year-olds sound like angels no matter
yeah,
what.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
All right. And then one more approval. I don't know if we actually have a motion written up for this. We need to.
I wrote one.
I was like,
I wrote one.
we need to.
I'm a nervous Nelly, so I
Okay.
wrote one.
Okay, good.
So this is coming from the committee. We recommend that the board enters into an agreement with BWP and Associates to conduct the search for our next superintendent at a cost not to exceed $23,500 plus expenses. A copy of that agreement is in front of
Everybody's got a
everybody
chance. Yep.
in your folder that details what we will do and what they will do.
Second.
Motion and a second to enter into a contract with BWP for the superintendent search. Any discussion?
Could the committee kind of speak to, just to kind of give some clarification to the community of kind of the price ranges that we were looking at, just to make sure that we're making wise decisions here?
They were all very similar. There was one that was kind of a la carte, but you had to pay transportation and things as they came to provide that service. And so when we looked at what we thought would be comprehensive that we would need, I think all of them ranged between 19 and 27.
I was thinking 29 was
28.
something I had heard. Yeah.
So I think they were all similar in structure for their pricing and provided similar options, but we really felt like this group had a lot of experience in South Carolina with districts similar to our size, and gave us confidence. I might be speaking out of turn, but gave us confidence that they would work with our stakeholders to understand what our community loves about Fort Mill, what they do not want to see change, and what they could have room for growth. So we felt like they would really listen to us.
And Mr. Bodie, this one's actually going to be for you. We actually had a conversation about who these people have worked with, and you shared some stuff with me. Would you mind sharing that with the board and the community?
So, with my previous career, I've spent a lot of time with many different, I'm going to say probably about 45 to 50 school districts across the U.S. Actually, it's more than that. Wherever there's a theme park or a zoo, I always would go searching for the best school districts, and so I'm very aware of some of those. This particular organization is from, they're headquartered in an area where we actually are benchmarking one of the schools that's from the area, which is Adelaide Stevenson. And that school is the #1 public school district in the country. And I'm going to say you go 25 miles, or just within that county, I think there's about 700,000 people, and I'm going to say there's 25 school districts in that particular county, and I'm going to say that 7 or 8 of those, or 9, or at least half of those are within the top 125 or top 150 in the country. So they're surrounded by a lot of tradition of excellence. That didn't necessarily get me excited. What got me excited was I believe that they have an understanding that it's important to go into a school district and try to understand the DNA. And that's what I'm most comfortable with, is believing that I think they understand that culture is significant, is important, and how it evolved and where it's been and what's happened over the last few years. And I think, me personally, I think that I'm going to say, I mentioned this at one of the forums, and I had stated that wherever you're from, and there are many of us that's not from here, I'm from the Chicagoland area and the Memphis area. And one of the things I've done since I've been a school board member is it wasn't that I ever second guessed how good we were, but what I personally did was went around the 40-something states that I've spent time with, some of the school districts that I know, just to see, and that I know that are good, just to see where they were or where they have been. And one of the things that I really realized was there are probably 2 or 3 what I call prestigious school ranking establishments that are out there. You know, we're typically in that 1.5% to 4%. So it may be that one of these we're 149th, and maybe another one we're 220th. We're still in the top 5% of 10,300, 400 school districts in the country, which just says a lot. And so for me, when I look in the mirror, and I can say this to you all, we had to speak to every board member just to kind of give our feedback on the organization. And I can just tell you, some of us, our stomach hurts when we think about this. There's a lot of anxiety on this topic. This is a wonderful school district, and we got to get this right and do the best we can when it comes to that. And so I can assure you, with no equivocation, that the individuals that are surrounding this desk here, I can promise you they're taking it so serious.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment. Going back to the cost thing, being one of the more tenured school board members here.
No.
Yeah, more tenured. Anyway, I was here when we did the last search. And my recollection.
Did a good job.
I know, right?
I've had a history of making long-term decisions like that. I remember a lot of things I forget, but one thing I tend to remember a lot of are numbers. And I recall we looked into national organizations back then, so 15, 16 years ago. And I recall a number of $30,000.
Yeah.
So I am surprised that we are this far along and at the level. I'm pleased with it, but I'm surprised. So that's good.
And I know from following what other districts in the state have done, 20 to 50 has been the range that I've heard of other superintendent searches that have occurred. So we're definitely within, I think, the appropriate ballpark.
And by the way, we didn't have to spend $30,000 to find our last candidate. But anyhow, we did consider.
Well, I'm going to piggyback on what Anthony said in the commitment of the board, and appreciate everybody's input. We've given everybody homework, the committee has, and have to send reminders like you have to do with students sometimes. But everybody handed in their homework, and their input has been valuable, in getting us to this point where we felt comfortable meeting with groups, and really BWP just stood out. I mean, they were fantastic. So I appreciate everybody's hard work. I appreciate she doesn't get a lot of recognition.
That's right.
Jackley back here
right.
has been
Yep.
keeping us organized as well. So she's been a big help in this process to the committee as well. So
All right, so we have a motion and a second to enter into an agreement with BWP. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And with that, we are to our very last item, which is your superintendent report.
Here we go. Okay, just by the way, I was on a weather call, and it looks like we'll start on time in the morning. The wind is an issue, but they're gonna revisit, we were revisiting at 6:15 in the morning, but right now we're on go. Calendar events, March. Last night, the first impact fee meeting, first reading, then tonight's meeting, the school board visits to NAFO, Sugar Creek, and Oak Grove next Monday, this coming Monday. Then no school for students and staff, potential weather makeup on the 14th, teacher workday on the 17th, York County public hearing on the impact fee second reading on the 17th, York County State of Education meeting 8 a.m. on the 18th, that's a busy time there. And a school board meeting that night. And then we have a rescheduled school visits from the day we missed for the weather. On the 24th, we'll have another Monday visit to TKK, Gold Hill, and Gold Hill Elementary and Gold Hill Middle. Then the Fort Mill School District Teacher Liaison Day, they go down and take a bus of our top teachers down one day each year, and they're going on the 25th. Then a 2-hour release day on the 28th. Okay. Skipping over to April, school board meeting on the 1st, third reading on the impact fee on the 7th, the school board's day at the Capitol on the 9th, the school board visits to the Aquatic Center, Springfield Elementary and Springfield Middle on the 10th, school board meeting on the 15th, and spring break on the 21st. Did I leave anything out?
Catawba Ridge has a makeup day for their gas leak-ish thing.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
didn't know
y'all.
if we were ready to announce that. Joe is,
I got
it's
an
gone
email
out.
about it.
okay.
Yeah, so Joe's not on microphone, so just for those who might not have heard online, it is strictly for Catawba Ridge High School. And it is an asynchronous learning day on the 17th of March virtually, so students will not be attending live and in person. And the note's gone out to the parents and the students and all the stuff.
there's going to be a bunch of dates
Yeah.
that will be stakeholder engagement that we would just encourage folks to check our website, and we'll get that information out to folks.
Okay.
All right, any other questions about the dates? Enrollment update, that time of year when we're just kind of creeping along, 18,410. When you add back the 76 winter graduates, you get closer to the 18,500-ish that we talk about. We'll creep along here each month, and then in the summer, we'll have another burst, I assume. Any questions about the numbers? Then the teacher enrollment, teacher attendance update. We have leading the way at the high school level for the month of February, Fort Mill High at 95.3, middle school Springfield Middle at 96.1, and elementaries at Gold Hill Middle at 96.3, and Gold Hill Middle Elementary is the district winner at 96.3, if my eyes are working right, so.
All right.
All right, and I don't have anything else unless you have questions.
Nope. All right, no questions, but we are in need of an executive session to discuss legal issues, contractual issues, and personnel recommendations. So
Go into
with
executive
the motion, we
session.
are now in executive session.